Okay, here we go, 7th grade. We're starting chapter 9. We're going to get more into some geometry. We're going to talk about perimeter and circumference today. So let's have a look-see at perimeter. Perimeter means the distance around the outside of a figure. So, for example, if I'm talking about this rectangle, it's all the sides added up. This side is 3, this side is 3.5, 3, 3.5. See, you add them up and you get 13. Let me try to focus. Okay. In this triangle, we have 3 sides. They're all a length of 2, so you would just add, perimeter would be 2 plus 2 plus 2, which is 6. And then you want to make sure you're using whatever units. By unit, I mean like how are these being measured? Are they inches? Are they meters? Are they centimeters? If it doesn't specify any unit, then you would just say U for unit or UN. Okay. Circumference is basically perimeter but of a circle. So if it's the distance around the outside of a circle or a circle's perimeter. So here's your circle, right? It's this area or this distance around the circle. And you calculate it by using this pretty magical number, pi. And you multiply pi times the diameter of the circle. And I'm going to explain that in just a second. So pi can be written as 3.14, or it can be written as 22 over 7. But let's talk about that in a second. So when I multiply this diameter times pi, I get 12.56 units. Okay, so what is pi? Pi, written just pi, not like the pie you eat, and symbolized by this little Greek letter here. Pi is the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. So what mathematicians found out in ancient times is that every circle in nature, every circle everywhere, man-made or otherwise, every perfect circle has the same ratio, the circumference of the circle over the diameter of the circle. So let's say you have this circle here that has a circumference of approximately, remember these little wavy equal signs, that means approximately 25.12, and its diameter is 8. So if I take 25.12 and I put it over 8 and I do that division, I'm going to get something that's about 3.14. No matter what. Any circle, if you know the circumference and you know the diameter, you put the circumference over the diameter and you will get 3.14 every single time, or 22 over 7. Okay? It's pretty cool. So basically, since we know that this number pi exists, this ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter, we can use that information to find out what circumference is on circles. Okay? If we know the diameter, and that's the only thing we know, we can multiply it times pi, and that'll tell us what the distance around the circle actually is. So using that information, well, actually, we're not going to use that information yet. Here's just your standard, good old-fashioned 4th grade, find the perimeter of the figure. And they tell you this side is 15, and they tell you this side is 32. This is a rectangle, so that means this side's going to be 32, and this side's going to be 15. So you're supposed to add all the side lengths together, and then write the answer in the given units. So I've got two 15s, so I've got 15 plus 15 plus 32 plus 32. So I know these are 30, 60, 90, 60, 94. 94 units. Okay, and it's not squared. Okay, I didn't multiply anything. It's not cubed. I didn't multiply 2 or 3 things. I only counted around the outside, okay, like if it was a fence. Now let's use what we know about circumference. If I want to find the circumference of something, I'm going to, actually, hold on, I'm going to turn this off. There we go. I'm going to use what I know about the circumference of a circle and its diameter, and I'm going to calculate. I can use pi to get what I don't know. So in other words, use what you know to get what you don't know. Remember, circumference, this is old news, but you need to memorize this. Circumference is pi times the diameter, or sometimes people say it's 2 pi r. I don't like saying 2 pi r. The reason they say r is for radius, right? So this is the radius, and then the whole thing like that would be the diameter. So, but this 14 right here, that's just the radius. I don't like to use 2 pi r because a lot of times people get it confused with pi r squared, because that's also a 2, but it means something very different. It's an exponent on the radius. This is not. This is just doubling r. Well, if you're going to double r to make the diameter, then just know that the circumference is pi times the diameter. Don't confuse yourself with all the 2 pi r. So that's kind of how I keep those straight. Pi d. Pi times the diameter gives you the circumference. Okay? So find the diameter. If the radius is 14, then the diameter is 28, right? Because it's twice the radius. Now I have to multiply that by pi. I can do that 2 ways. I can do it, oftentimes what will happen is the directions will tell you if they want you to use 3.14 for pi, or if they want you to use 22/7 for pi. Excuse me, I have hiccups. I'm going to do 3.14. Now I'm going to multiply by 28. See why we had to do all that multiplication practice? So this is 32, 8, 11, 24, 25, 0, 8, 2, 6. Add them up. 2, 9, 7, 8, 2 decimal points. Okay, so, and then I have to write my answer in the given units. So the circumference is 80, it's about actually, because pi is not exactly 3.14, it's actually an irrational number that goes on and on forever and never repeats. 3.14159, blah, 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 blah. Okay, 87.92. So it's about 87 and 92/100ths units. Okay? And I will box my answer because this is math, and I like to keep everything nice and neat and tidy when I'm doing my math. Okay, here is another circumstance where you would use this information to solve a real-world problem. So this girl, Lily, is drawing plans for a circular fountain. Okay, so it's a fountain that is a circle. The circumference of the fountain is going to be 63 feet. This is one huge fountain. 63 feet, not 63 inches. That would be as tall as me. 63 feet. That's huge. Okay, so what is the approximate diameter? Well, I'm going to use what I know to get what I don't know. What do I know? I know the formula for circumference. I know circumference equals pi d. It's pi times the diameter. I'm going to fill in the numbers that I know. I know the circumference is 63, so instead of c, I'm going to write 63. I know I can use 3.14 for pi. I don't know the diameter. That's the thing I'm trying to find out. Now I solve for what I don't know. I don't know the diameter, so I'm going to use inverse operations to solve for it. Divide by 3.14. So now I get to do this lovely, gigantic division problem. Remember, 63 divided by 3.14. That means 63 is the number getting broken up into pieces, which means it goes inside the radical. And then 3.14. Remember how to do this? Decimal on the outside, move it in. Move the inside decimal the same number of spaces. Push it up into the quotient and add your zeros. How many times does 314 go into 630? Twice. And you get 628. Subtract, you get 2. Bring down a 0. This doesn't fit into 20, so you put another 0. And then I'm going to say you have 20 left over. So the diameter is going to be, well, I guess we're going to round. I guess we'll round to the tenths. Usually they tell you to the tenths. So now I got to bring down another 0 into 200. Oh, it still doesn't go. Bring down another 0. Okay, now 369. So probably 6 times. Let's see, what's 3.14 times, or not 3.14, just 314 times 6. 24, 6, 7, 8, 18. Yeah, can't be bigger than that. So we'll call it 6. And I don't need to do any more than that because I'm rounding to the tenths. So I can say that the diameter is approximately 20.1 feet is the approximate diameter. I'm writing that answer in the given units. The units they gave me was feet. Use what you know to get what you don't know. Circumference is pi d, and pi is the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. We don't usually know the circumference. We're usually trying to figure that out. But since we know what pi is and that it's always 3.14 or 22/7, we can use that information to figure out what we don't know. There you have it.